Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Something that just totally came out of left field. Maybe it's because I'm not subscribed to any real news channels, but I was going through the internet and I came across a clip of Charles Barkley on CNN, and then I saw him, and then I saw in the title that he was discussing John Morant, and then it reminded me of two things. Number one, I remember that Charles Barkley recently inked a deal with CNN to have his own show with Gayle King, which I don't watch because I don't follow those shows. So that's the first thing, but it reminded me of that. And secondly, I said, okay, this is most likely going to be something right here that I think a good amount of people are going to disagree with. As you guys know, John Morant made his long-awaited return to the NBA this season after his 25-game suspension, right? So there was that. There was a lot of anticipation. And when he came back, on that first night, he came back, and with a bang. Not literally. I didn't mean, no pun intended. I didn't mean it like that. But anyway, he came back in a big way. And he had a very big game, and he ended up having the game-winning shot to win that game. And you could see he was excited. You could see that his teammates were excited and all of those different things, right? And there seemed to be this buzz around the NBA that John Morant is back. And the fact of the matter is, before Ja returned, before he had his issues, Ja was one of the stars that were rising rather quickly. A lot of people were beginning to think that he could actually go on to become the face of the NBA. Some people felt like people like Tracy McGrady thought that one day in the future we'd end up being an MVP in the league. And some people felt, or I forgot the report that I read where it had projected that John Morant would reach billionaire status faster than LeBron James did throughout his illustrious NBA career. So Ja had a lot of things going his way. So what happens? He comes back, he plays well. So then I click on this clip to hear exactly what Charles Barkley was saying about John Morant and the position that he took. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Charles Barkley had to say here, and then want to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Charles Barkley had to say about John Morant.
The thing that bothers me the most about Ja,
but you want to explain the infraction?
Well, he filmed himself. First of all, I never understand why anybody does social media. Because social media has, it might work for certain people.
There's some redeeming values of social media, but I don't understand why you film yourself. Well, he didn't think people would see that.
Well, he filmed himself with guns, Gail.
Yeah.
And
twice.
The thing I don't understand is, first of all, if you got friends filming you with a gun, when you think one of them will say, hey man, maybe we should have been filming you with a gun.
Yeah.
He got suspended 8 times the first time. Then less than a couple months later, he does it again. Mm-hmm. If your friends are that stupid, he lost like $8 million. That's a lot of money.
He lost that much?
Yes.
Wow.
But if you got friends around you who think it's appropriate to film you with a gun, and Gail, one of the biggest problems we got in the black community is violence.
Yes.
And for a guy who's that great a player to be, you focusing like who's made it in life. Mm-hmm. He's not a 9-to-5 guy.
Do you dismiss it as, in addition to friends, hanging around, friends that don't have your best interests, do you think it's his age and that maybe he's learned, because he's 22, 23, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you something. You do not need to film yourself with guns and things like that.
I agree.
It's just and I don't mind him having guns. He have guns, that's his own business. But there's no.
Do you have a gun?
I do.
You do?
A lot of them.
Do you?
I do.
See, I'm scared of guns.
Scared of them?
Yeah.
They come in handy when the crook's around. They don't come in handy. I mean, I feel safer with a gun, me personally. I don't touch my gun unless I go practice. I don't try to show it to anybody, but I feel safer with it. But I'm definitely not going to put it on Instagram like a damn idiot, especially after you had already did it one time and less than 2 months later you did it again. And I never want to get on TV and act like a hypocrite. I am a gun guy. I feel safer with a gun, but I understand it's my bodyguard, James Haywood, is a cop. We talk about it all the time. He said, hey, do not touch that gun except for 2 reasons. You're going to practice or you're going to shoot somebody. Anything else, and I've never shot anybody.
You haven't?
And have
you ever shot the gun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
I
you've never,
practiced.
okay.
But I wouldn't want to shoot anybody, but if I felt threatened, and like I say, I've been arrested a few times for fighting, but I would never touch the gun unless my life depended on it.
So you heard his comments. Listen, I think that the mistakes Ja made, and they were head-scratching mistakes, if we're being frank, are behind him. I think he has paid the fine for his mistakes in terms of missing games, not being there to be able to help his team, who was floundering this season, one of the worst teams in the NBA. He also paid the financial fine. I think he lost about $8.6 million in salaries. But if you look at the overall amount of money that he lost in potential salaries, of not making all NBA team, etc., I think it's somewhere around $60 million. So he lost a lot of money. I think he lost an endorsement as well along the way. So he lost a pretty nickel along the way. So Ja has faced the ramifications for his actions. And I think that the only reason one should bring up the things that he did in the past are if he does it again. But at this particular point, I think it's important that we kind of look forward because, listen, since he's returned, I know it's not a big deal, but the Grizzlies have won 2 games in a row, right? And a lot of people are now beginning to question, hey, can this team make it back into the playoff picture, or at least make it back into the play? And as we currently speak, they're 12 games below 500, if I'm not mistaken. 11 games below 500. But it's not like as if the teams that are ahead of them are playing pretty well. So, I mean, you have the Jazz who are there. You have the Warriors who've not been playing very well, although they won their last 4 in a row. So some people are beginning to speculate that, could this team possibly make it into the play-in? And they possibly could, because the fact of the matter is this. The team has a totally different vibe and energy when he's there, when he's playing, when he's participating. And that's something that we can't overlook. Why this became a topic item on CNN with Gayle King, I have no idea. Again, I don't follow CNN like that. I don't follow that show, so I don't really know what that show is all about. I don't know why it came up, but to me, yes, I know Ja recently made some comments about I kept receipts, and some people are like, well, what receipts are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're acting like as if somebody did the things that you went through, like as if somebody did them to you. But to me, listen, I'm more focused on what Ja is going to do moving forward, and if he has a hiccup along the way, then I think we bring it up. But until then, we shouldn't. These are my thoughts. About a day or so ago, we got the news that Zion Williamson's contract would no longer be guaranteed. Now, we got this from various sources, but one of the sources that I want to quickly read from is from SI, Sports Illustrated. It has the following headline. It says, why Zion Williamson's contract is no longer guaranteed for final 3 years per report. Goes on. New and unusual details of Pelicans star Zion Williamson's contract paint a picture of a potentially fraying relationship between the once highly touted rookie in New Orleans. Amid resurfacing concerns of Williamson's persistent availability issues, the Pelicans could be at their rope's end with the two-time All-Star, as they have opted to protect themselves if Williams misses more time in the future. Williams' 5-year extension signed in July 2022. The last 3 years of the deal are no longer guaranteed, according to a recent report by The Athletic. The former number 1 overall pick sat out more than 22 games last season, which triggered a clause that turns his salary from guaranteed to non-guaranteed for the 2025-2026 season, all the way up to the 28 seasons. Should Williamson also miss a significant number of games this season, he could take a financial hit in the 2024-2025 season as well. Williams' extension reportedly includes ways for him to earn back the lost guarantees by hitting specific benchmarks. At the same time, Williamson could lose more money if he doesn't pass regular checks of his weight and body fat. For example, one clause in his contract dictates that the sum of Williamson's weight and body fat percentage must be lower than 295. The Pelicans and Williams' agent declined to comment on contract matters, to The Athletic. And then it continues on. Williamson, currently in his first year of his 5-year, $197 million extension, has found himself back in the spotlight due to re-emerging questions over his fitness level. ESPN Stephen A. Smith and TNT Shaquille O'Neal were a few of many critics to take shots at Williams' health and conditioning this past month following the Pelicans' 44-point loss to the Lakers in the in-season tournament semifinals on December 7. The 23-year-old Williams has only played 137 games in the last 5 seasons and has missed the entire 2022 campaign due to a foot injury. He has managed to stay healthy so far this season, averaging 22 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 4.7 assists in 23 games. And then the article goes on to say a few other things there. So that's what the article has said there. There are a bunch of other sources you guys can go check out, including The Athletic, if you want more detailed information on this. So what happened? Today I came across a clip from ESPN First Take that featured a panel of Molly Karam, Shannon Sharpe, and Kendrick Perkins. And they brought up this very issue to get a sense, or really for the audience to get a sense of what they thought about the turn of events with Zion Williamson, and this is disturbing development surrounding his contract. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Shannon Sharpe and Kendrick Perkins had to say about this story, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts and opinions. Take a listen to what they had to say here.
The Athletic reviewed Zion's contract, which shows that the final 3 years of his contract, starting with the 2025-26 season, are no longer guaranteed after he played in only 29 games last season. Now, Zion has only played in 40% of the Pelicans games since they drafted him first overall in 2019. That includes missing the entire 2021-22 season when New Orleans made the playoffs. If Williamson misses significant time this season, it could cut into his guaranteed salary for the 2024-25 season. The contract also has ways for Williamson to earn back the guarantees by playing in enough games, and as you guys have heard, hitting some specific weigh-in checkpoints. Shannon, let's start with you. What does this all mean for Zion's future?
Zion is going to have to make some tough decisions. Does he really want to play basketball? Because for the longest time I said, well, Zion really loved. You don't love something if he loved the game of basketball, he would get his weight under control. He would take training serious. There is no possible way you can say you love something and then go out and do the things that's totally opposite of what you're saying. I mean, for him, he had to miss fewer than 23 games in order to avoid the last 3 years of his contract being voided. I mean, non-guaranteed. He missed 53 games. And now they got these, just think about this perk. The mere fact that I've never had a weight clause, I've never had any kind of clause in my contract. And for him to put this, and I told him when he was at Duke, normally big kids grow up to be big adults. Oh, Shannon, you don't know he gonna get in shape. I said, do you understand? College kids don't have money. If you find a kid that's overweight in college with no money, what the hell you think gonna happen if you give him 100 or 200 million? He ain't eating Pop-Tarts. He ain't eating Cheetos. He eating 10-course meals. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing because this man have all the assets to get a personal chef, to have the best trainers. But you can get all that. The personal chef, the personal trainer. What about personal accountability, Perk? That's what this is. This ain't about no chef. This ain't about no trainer. This ain't about the New Orleans Pelicans. This is about Zion Williamson. lacking personal accountability. Until he sees it within himself to see what he's doing to his NBA future, nothing's going to change and nothing matters.
I'm going to take it a step further, huh? I'm going to piggyback off of you, but I'm going to take it a step further. Zion Williamson don't love the game of basketball. He don't love it. He loves what the game of basketball has to offer.
So you heard what Shannon Sharpe and Kendrick Perkins had to say. Here are my thoughts. First of all, this is an unprecedented story. And if you listen carefully to the audio, you would hear Shannon Sharpe say, in his entire professional career, he has never heard of anything like this, which means that it's unprecedented. There's no precedent anywhere for something like this, which means that it's a pretty serious situation for them to put in these particular clauses in Zion Williamson's contract. Now, to be fair, Shannon Sharpe has been one of these people, and he said it in the audio, that's always questioned whether or not Zion would be able to maintain his weight and play within a certain threshold. A lot of people were criticizing him because of how he looked in that play-in tournament game. Of course, Stephen A. Smith was making fun of his belly, saying that his belly was jiggling and all of that. I didn't see any need to go that far because, well, I thought it was unnecessary. You can call a guy fat, you can call him out of shape, to now talk about his belly jiggling and all of that. Let's just be for real. You're making fun of the guy, but let's just be for real. I didn't think that was necessary, but some people do, which is their prerogative, is their right to say what they want to say. In the case of Zion Williamson, listen, as someone that has had challenges with losing weight, first of all, it's very difficult. I've been fat, I've been slim, I've been chubby, whatever. It's very, very difficult. But it really all boils down to a few things. Number one, the principal thing is your discipline, right? That's the principal thing. And by discipline, we're talking about one fundamental thing here, which I personally believe, and I think a lot of people that are probably into fitness, who have gone through a fitness journey, watching this particular show will concur with me 100%, or at least a lot, I think a good amount. For people like me, 75% of the battle is what you eat. If you like, you can run on a treadmill for 2 hours every single day. If you eat the wrong thing, you're not going to see the results that you want to get. And it is not as simple as, oh, just calories in, calories out. I understand it, but the type of things that you put in your body is going to dictate the amount of energy you have to do certain things. So number one, it starts off with the mental discipline. Can I do this for a sustained period of time? Now, in the case of a Zion Williamson, you're asking him to be in shape for God knows how long, year in, year out. And maybe you may have a summer, maybe a month and a half, depending on how far you're going in the postseason, to just you slack off or whatever it is. Now, here's the challenge with that. You do that, you're not going to have to work back to get where you are. I'll give you guys a perfect example. When I was in college, I used to be in tip-top shape. Marco will tell you, I was running, then I'll go on vacation, visit family or whatever it is. You're away for a month and a half, 2 months. Number one, you don't have access to the same workout facilities. You're in a totally different environment. In college, you're on the move, you're on the go. Whereas on holiday, you're on holiday. College, you don't have foods that you would have in college because you're in college. So your mama ain't there cooking for you, and you don't have the access to the fridge. In college, you got to get it how you live, right? So I always had the situation where over those periods, I would gain weight. I'll probably gain, 10 pounds, whatever, 10, some cases 15 pounds. But when I get back, I now got to put in the work to lose. And it usually takes me about a month and a half to really get back in tip-top shape. In the case of Zion Williamson, however, he's a professional athlete. So this is actually your job. That wasn't my job. I just did that for, my health and how I wanted to look. But in this particular case, it's your job, right? And if it's your job, and you're earning this volume of money, then you need to do everything within your power to ensure that you're putting yourself in the proper environment, proper mental state to be able to go out there and yield those results. If you know anything about Zion's personal life over the last summer, it was an absolute disaster, total chaos. And when you have that type of chaos going on with the situation with that OnlyFans model and all that other crazy stuff, it creates a difficult environment for you to be in the proper mental space to then go out there and focus on that thing. Because you can't be living a chaotic life and then say, I'm going to be living a healthy life as well. No, it's very, very hard unless you someone that has a very quick metabolism. You can just eat anything and lose weight. So to me, I think it's a nuanced situation. I think that this is probably a wake up call for Zion, and hopefully he designs a life for himself that will allow him to excel, not just from a health standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. Not health, I'm just talking about physical, I'm talking about mentally, right? And you have to create the environment. If you have the resources to do it, then you do it. Then you absolutely do it. If it means deleting your phone and getting a no phone and starting it, whatever you got to do, you do it, right? Because this is pretty serious, and it's your future. Now, in this case, you know, Zion got a big shoe contract, so it's not like as if Zion Williamson is going to be poor in the future. He's made all his money, but nevertheless, it's a pretty disturbing story, and I hope that he gets it together, right? Because Zion is a very young guy, and I'm not rooting for a young guy like this to be, you know, going through challenges and stuff like that. I get no kick out of that, right? So hopefully he gets it together and he gets his career back on track. But he's a very young guy and he's dealing with a lot of drama. Let me get into this topic here. So apparently we're back where we started as usual, which is the Lakers are now about to fall off the cliff. And oh my Lord, we need to figure out what to do next. This is the reoccurring story with the Lakers over the last few seasons. And oh my God, it's like it's turning into a broken record. I do my best not to even listen to any of these stories because it's so nauseating. It's like, this is the only time we're now going to spend the entire season trying to figure out what's wrong with the Lakers. And to me, it's just, you do the entire NBA such a total service. But then again, some people can say, but you're talking about it too. So I guess I'm part of the problem. Anyway, as you guys know, the Lakers have been having a tough go at it ever since the play-in tournament. Not the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament. Sorry, they won the championship. Since then, they've been, I think, 1-4. And right now, they're currently on a 4-game losing streak. In the last 10, they've lost 6 out of the last 10 games. So they're not doing very well. Going into that thing, they were the number 6 seed. Now they've plummeted all the way down to the number 9 seed. And then when that happens, we now start to revisit the old tried and true. What's wrong with the Lakers? Who do we need to bump? Who needs to get fired? Who needs to get that's been a new conversation. And if you look all over sports, throughout sports media, that's what people are talking about. People in independent platforms, that's what they're talking about. And like, oh my God, here we go again. So what happened? Today, I jump on YouTube, and a video gets recommended to me from ESPN, and it has Kendrick Perkins on there, and he's talking about the state of affairs with the Lakers. And that's what they were talking about. And then it gets to a particular point where he begins to hint that, hey, wait a minute, this is a very serious issue, and I think people need to start paying attention to it. And by people, he was referring to head coach Darvin Ham, and he was basically saying that Darvin Ham could potentially be on a hot seat if these Lakers don't turn it around. So that's really what we want to focus on. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/DREAMERSPRO. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Kendrick Perkins had to say about some of the things he's been hearing around the NBA, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Kendrick Perkins had to say here.
And Perk, 2024 is right around the corner at this point. We are counting down the final days of 2023 here, and there's a real chance that the Lakers can enter January with a losing record here. So how long can they just afford to trust that they have enough right now?
Not long at all, and especially Darvin Ham. Look, I'm not going to go out on the ledge right now and say that Darvin Ham is on the hot seat, although I want to. But I will say this, don't get too comfortable if I'm Darvin Ham. When you talk about LeBron James and Rob Pelinka and Anthony Davis, you got to be on your best stuff. They want greatness. And a lot of people have been questioning his rotations. A lot of people have been questioning, his play calling, and here's the thing, right? When you're dealing with an organization like the Lakers, we have to remember they fired Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel helped them hang a banner.
Mm-hmm.
They won a championship for Frank Vogel. Is what are you doing for me right now?
Hey, Darvin Ham just hung a banner last week.
I knew you
that's the standard.
Don't
I
get
knew
me
you were
started.
going there.
Don't get me started.
So you heard his comments. Essentially, Kendrick is saying that, listen, Darvin Ham shouldn't get too comfortable because he could be gone next. And to me, I'm like, how is this even possible? How is this even possible? To me, and I said it in one of the recent posts, that's why I can't support the Lakers right now with the way it's constructed with LeBron and all of this. It has turned into one big drama cesspool of drama. That's all it's been for the past 4 years, dating back all the way to the Russell Westbrook trade. That year, it was supposed to be that was supposed to be the team that won the championship, ended up being a total disaster. The rest of the season was drama. The following year, drama. You trade Russell Westbrook. They're playing well. They make it to, and now here we are again. Everybody was sitting over there, twerking it up. Oh, the Lakers look good. And funny enough, I thought the Lakers would be good this year. I was one of the people that thought that the Lakers were going to be good. But the problem is they've had to deal with injuries like most teams in the NBA. So I'm not going to use, it's a factor in sports, right? It happens. But sometimes they're just not playing well. But I never thought, okay, you know what? Time to blow up the team. Time to trade this person away. Time to fire this person. And that's what we are. That's what we are. To reference what Kendrick Perkins said, they just fired a championship coach in Frank Vogel 2 years ago. You hired Darvin Ham. When Darvin Ham was getting him to the Western Conference Finals, he's a fantastic coach. Now they can't figure it out. Now we need to fire the coach. Okay, you're going to fire the coach, and then what's next? What's next? How about we start looking at the team? How about we start looking at the way the offense is being ran? How about we start looking at the players? We're not going to do that. And to me, it's like the process of elimination. We can't blame him. It's like, okay, blame him, blame them. Okay, he's gone. Now, next one, blame. And if they get rid of Darvin Ham, they get a new coach, two things are going to happen. They're going to blame Anthony Davis, or they're going to blame the new coach. And to me, I think that we need to get to the point where we understand that, listen, in sports, sometimes it's a process. You know, sometimes a process is involved. And the Lakers seem to be running away from that reality. It is a process involved. You look at the Clippers. They haven't won a championship yet. They still got Ty Lue there trying to figure it out. But with the Lakers, they always want, it's like this microwave solution. Like, okay, we're going to throw this on the microwave and we need results right now. And to me, it's like, man, I'm just sick of the drama, man. Maybe they're just not playing well. Maybe this won't be their year. And then you move on. You know, you move on. But I think if you fire Darvin Ham, you go get another coach, then that doesn't work out. Or if it does work out, they get it to the playoffs, they do well, and then they don't do well again, and then they're going to come back the next season and say, okay, who are we going to fire? Who can we get rid of? It's like, when does it end? You know, when does it end? When does it end? Now, I understand these guys have to talk about the Lakers because they're a huge market. They have a very huge fan base. But my God, is this the only story we can come up with, about this team? How can we solve it? Who do we need to? Like, I don't even know what to say. It's still a long season. Who knows? Maybe they could turn it around. I don't know. They have a very big game coming up on Christmas. They're going to be playing against the Boston Celtics. If I look at the NBA standings, yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. Yeah, they may lose it because they're going to be playing against the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics currently have the number 1 record in the East. That may be a 5th loss in a row. But hey, you never know. You may turn it around later on in the season. When the Clippers lost 6 games in a row, I was tough on them, but they figured it out. So who knows? Maybe the Lakers have figured it out. Maybe they won't. Who knows? I guess we're definitely going to find out about it because they're going to talk about it. So these are my thoughts. Let me get into this topic here. So this is just a topic that's kind of just off the cuff, just something I'm thinking about before we go into Christmas. And Merry Christmas to you guys ahead in advance. I'm just thinking about the current state of affairs of the Lakers and what's being said. For those of you who may be unaware, the Lakers are going through some serious turmoil. And right now they're talking about looking for a new coach amid a 4-game losing streak. That's where they are. As you guys know, the Lakers just recently won the NBA Cup, or whatever the hell you want to call it. They just won that. And certain people out there beginning to ask the question, well, did they exert themselves, in the play-in cup? Was it too strenuous on them? Did they burn themselves out? And I'm like, wait a minute, did they just come off a 2-month run, a playoff run? Like am I missing something here? Like, what are we talking about? 7 games. I'm trying to figure this out. So there's that. And now there are questions around, Darvin Hammond being in the hot seat. They're talking about his rotations. Inevitably, now and then there are going to be conversations around, Anthony Davis's production. And the person that just finds a way to escape through all of this is LeBron as usual. And I'm noticing a pattern. And the pattern is that wherever team LeBron goes to is always full of drama. It's always drama. You can date all the way back to Miami. You can go to Cleveland. You can go to LA. It's always drama. It's always about who's been. We produced a show. I think recently they said. Let me get the article here. Let me see if I can find the article here, because it was pretty staggering. But basically, an article essentially came out saying that LeBron has been a part of throughout his NBA career a staggering 188 trades. 188 trades. That's the amount of trades LeBron has been a part of. And to me, you begin to ask the question, like, when is it going to stop? And when are people going to actually start discussing this? When are people actually going to start discussing this and really tackling this issue? Now, I know a lot of Laker fans, some may not want to admit it, some will, but a lot of Laker fans I know are at their wits' end. And a lot of them have been saying that they want their team back. And that ever since he got there, it's been an absolute disaster. I think in LeBron's career, he's been a part of, in terms of trades and drafts and all of that, picks and all of that, it's about 188 moves. Jordan was at 56. Kobe was at 30. Kobe was at 56. Jordan was at 35. Now, I recently watched a clip from Nonstop Sports where they were talking about the fractured relationship between Michael Jordan and former Chicago Bulls general manager, who unfortunately, general manager Jerry Krause, who had passed away, and essentially was talking about the challenges that Jordan faced because Jerry Krause would make certain trades and perform certain actions that Jordan was against, right? But Jerry Krause's general philosophy was that he was trying to build a championship team, and he wasn't going to always acquiesce to the request that Michael Jordan had, right? And it caused friction. But even without that 15-year career, there were only about 35 players that moved around. In the case of LeBron, man, I mean, now the new conversation is, who are we going to trade? Who are we going to fight? That's the new conversation been around Zach LaVine. Can we get Zach LaVine? Can we get this person? And I'm like, when does it end? When does it end? And the other question I got to ask is this. And it's a question to the media at large. And I just have to ask you guys this question. Why is it LeBron's right to win championships? Why do other players have to earn it, but you guys make it seem as if, like, well, if he doesn't have a championship team around him, he deserves to have a championship team. Really? You deserve it? Isn't that something you go earn? Well, don't other players deserve it? Doesn't Nikola Jokic deserve it? Doesn't Giannis Antetokounmpo deserve it? Doesn't Luka Doncic deserve it? Doesn't Stephen Curry deserve it? You look at the situation with Stephen Curry. Let's look at Stephen Curry for a moment. Minus the Draymond Green issues. Do you realize that even when the Golden State Warriors had some tough seasons, and they've had some tough seasons over the last few years, do you notice it was never any of this conversation? They just kind of dealt with it. They took it in stride. The organization handled it. But in the case of LeBron, man, it's always drama. Every single year. And the thing that gets me is that whenever you bring up this point, his supporters get frustrated with you for bringing this up. The reason I'm bringing it up is because it's an observation of mine. Now, if you're saying that I shouldn't say it, I shouldn't talk about it, then you came to the wrong place because no one forced you to click on the show. To me, it's just like, when will it end? When will it end? The drama never ends. Ever. It's all about drama. And I know that drama sells, but my God, when does it stop? When does it stop? We spent the last 5 years trying to figure out ways. Well, how can LeBron win? It's like, why is it only him? Why is it on? Everybody else had to try to figure it out. Jordan had to figure it out. Kobe had to figure it out. And now it's like, oh my God, well, who can we get? Who can we do this? Who can we do that? Who can we do? It's like, when does it end? To me, man, listen, I have LeBron in my top 5. Some people question that, but all of these things, I feel like when people discuss him in terms of his career as a whole, people need to factor these things in as well, because I think it's part of the story as well. The drama is just something that you can't even fathom. You cannot even, I feel like we're making so many excuses. And now I think that this year, if the Lakers don't do well, it's going to be another drama-packed season. And at the very end, there's always going to be another scapegoat. Always. That's for sure. I mean, there's been so many over the years. One year was Dwayne Wade. Oh, Dwayne Wade didn't have good knees. That's why he didn't win. But forgot the year in 2001 when Dwayne Wade led the team in scoring in the playoffs. And LeBron didn't show up, but fine. Then it was Dwayne Wade. And then when it got to Cleveland, it was Kevin Love. Oh, Kevin Love didn't play well. Kevin Love was a 26-12 guy. Oh, then it was Kevin Love. Then you get to L.A. Then it was the head coach at the time. Well, then it was the young players. And then it became Anthony Davis. Then it became Russell Westbrook. Then it became, now we're back to Anthony Davis. Now it's going to be dark. It's like, bro, when does it end? When does it end, man? It's just something that's on my mind. It's something that I wanted to discuss. And I just, man, when does it stop? When does it stop? Oh, my God. It never ends. And he's only one. Drama. These are my thoughts.